So who is the best hooker in World Rugby? What is the top 10 in that position? Let's get stuck into this. I'm updating the player power rankings post-World Cup to end the year. And I think there may be some conversation going on in the comments with this one. It's really, really hard, let me tell you. So get stuck in down below. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps spread the message, spread the word, and help me grow the channel so I can reach other rugby fans just like you. And if I haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these videos, because these positions are going to be coming one after the other, thick and fast. But let's get into hooker. Now, I did this last about 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago. So there have been some changes, let me tell you, not least at number 10, where Jamie George is back into the top 10. Now, he's closing in on 100 caps for England. He's, 33 years of age? So he may well have played his last World Cup. He's been a runner-up. He's finished third. He's had a brilliant career for England. And he had a great World Cup. And I think he deserves to be back in the top 10. His set piece is absolutely spot on. And do you know what? He's just been he was a really important player in that England squad, to the point that Steve Borthwick really didn't trust anyone else to do the job. So Jamie George would quite often play basically 80 minutes of a game or as near as damn it. So he is back into the top 10, dropping down in the top 10 from the last time. Samisoni Taukei'aho, who is, a proper player, and I was expecting him, and I was talking him up pre-World Cup, that the number in this power ranking would be going up or down, you know what I mean? He'd be going up the chart. But actually, as it is, he's dropping down a little bit. He was battling for his spot with Dane Coles as the backup to Codie Taylor. He earned that spot as the backup hooker for the big games when it really mattered, and actually did quite well in the World Cup final. So a lot of credit in the bank there. But and such a destructive carrier. He's still only 26, so a lot of time ahead. And I think he could well be the number one hooker moving forward, perhaps. We're going to wait and see under Scott Robertson. We will see. But on the strength of how all the hookers have been playing since we last did this player power ranking, Samisoni Taukei'aho is 9. And at number 8, back up, is Ronan Kelleher, who, because of the absence of Dan Sheehan, who is the backup for club and country, Kelleher was kind of injured as well. So it was actually Rob Herring that was getting a bit of rugby. But when Kelleher did get the chance, he showed exactly what he's about. And the biggest surprise to me when I was just preparing for this video is he's still only 25 years young. Ireland have got some really good hookers and a great age profile for the pair of them as well. And Ronan Kelleher, he was in the British and Irish Lions squad. He is a class rugby player, and he'd be starting for most international teams. And when he got the opportunity, he showed why. Number 7, dropping down in this list, is Codie Taylor. I think he justified his selection as the starting hooker for New Zealand. There were quite a lot of noises that people wanted Taukei'aho to be the main man and didn't think Codie Taylor was the clear number one. I think he was the clear number one, and he demonstrated why. He's got years of experience under his belt, and he can do things that most other hookers can't do. I mean, he scored 20 international tries, which is just an absolutely phenomenal try-scoring record for a hooker at the age. And he hasn't just scored them by, crashing over, riding the back of a driving maul to pick up a try. He's done a lot of those tries out in the wide channels, running like an outside centre. Proper baller. And he's 32. There's life in him yet. He could be around for a while. So he's down a couple of spots, up a couple of spots. Piato Mauvaka, who was sensational at the Rugby World Cup. Plays for Toulouse, where he backs up Julian Marchand. For club and country, a little bit like Ronan Kelleher, has that job at club and country, backing him up. And they needed a backup, did France, because Marchand wasn't there, wasn't available. And through injury, Mauvaka had kind of the responsibility, and he took his chance. He was outstanding. And I think in that quarter-final exit to South Africa, he was arguably man of the match. Certainly France's best player, and he's deceptively big as well, 125 kegs, and he can shift, and he's 26, so he will certainly be around for the next World Cup, if not beyond. Piato Mauvaka, in my opinion, very much deserves to be at number 6. At number 5, Bongi Mbonambi, another player just like Piato Mauvaka, who the person that he's kind of backing up, or at least more so jostling for position with in that South Africa side, Mbonambi and Marks are kind of 1A, 1B really. But he had all the responsibility. Unlike, Malvaka had other hookers in the squad. Bongi Mbonambi was the only out-and-out hooker. Dion Fourie did a great job, but Mbonambi had so much pressure on him, and of course was injured in that World Cup final. But when he was available and when he did play, he was brilliant. And South Africa really missed his scrummaging in that final. I think it's noticeable. As much as I lauded the praise on Oxenche in the last video on Loosehead Prop, they really, really missed Mbonambi, and that may be a big part of the reason why South Africa weren't able to get the bomb squad going against New Zealand in that final. So Bongi Mbonambi, 32. Could he make the next World Cup? He could. But I think they've got a lot of players around that age, and some of them are going to have to be turned over. And I think there are some good young hookers coming through. But what a guy. Double World Cup winner. Legend. Great player. Bongi Mbonambi at number 5. At number 4, Julien Marchand. Now, it felt really harsh to knock him down spots for being injured. So I've, based on what I've seen previously in a French jersey for Toulouse, and just generally, I've kept Julien Marchand at 28. A horrible injury. Horrible luck with injury at a home World Cup. 28 years of age. Should have been in his prime. He will get another shot at the Rugby World Cup, I hope. And his face was all over the adverts, the sides of buses and stuff when I was out in France. Key part of what has become an amazing French team, that, arguably the best French team that's ever been assembled. And he was a key cog in that. Unfortunately for him, he missed the World Cup. Would love to have been there for that. And France, albeit Malvaka was great, they certainly missed him. But Julien Marchand, maybe a little bit sentimental of me, I've kept him at number 4, which is where he was last time. Julien Montoya was at 3 last time, and that's where he is this time. That guy, he's a hero. He's the heartbeat of Argentina, who didn't have a great World Cup. Did well to finish 4th in the end. But when Montoya's on the pitch, you always think they've got a shot. He never, ever gives up. And bearing in mind, Augustin Crevi for Argentina was 38 and playing in the World Cup just gone. Julien Montoya might have a couple more World Cups in him. He's 30 and he's absolutely brilliant. Number 3. Number 2, again, it's exactly the same as it was last time round for me. Malcolm Marx, and much the same as Marchand. I couldn't really knock Marx down because he was injured. And I remember when he did get injured, I put up a video saying irreplaceable. I thought maybe, well, that's one player South Africa cannot replace. As it is, the coaches didn't even try and replace him. They brought in Andre Pollard and decided that they couldn't replace him, and Mbonambi grabbed the reins and did really, really well. But this guy is an absolute specimen. What a weapon. 29 years of age, total athlete, huge specimen, jackals like a 7, runs like a number 8, and he is awesome. And I think he's got another World Cup in him. And after what happened in France, obviously delighted to be part of a winning squad, but not in the manner that he personally would have liked. He'll want to put that right in 4 years' time in Australia. Meaning it's no change at number 1 either. As far as I'm concerned, Dan Sheehan is the best hooker on earth, in my humble opinion. If you disagree, well, that's what the comments are for. Let me know. We've all got different opinions, haven't we? How would you juggle the top 10? Who would you have where? Have I missed someone completely out of the top 10 that you think deserves it? For me, Dan Sheehan, disappointing World Cup for Ireland, obviously. He is just a difference maker. There are, Malcolm Marx, I'd say exactly the same thing about. I mentioned Malcolm Marx runs like a number 8 and jackals like a 7. Dan Sheehan, exactly the same. What an athlete! He could operate in the back row quite perfectly well, but he does all the nuts and bolts and the basics. What's so exciting about Dan Sheehan is he's still at the start of his international journey. He's only 25. He's only got just over he's 25 years of age. He's got around about 25 caps for Ireland. He's had an absolutely massive impact on the team and has been a key part of them getting to they were world number 1, winning the Grand Slams, winning those series victories abroad. I absolutely love this guy. One of my favourite players in world rugby. And I think I said something on a video that, the other day. He may be the best product that's come through the Leinster Academy since Brian O'Driscoll and Johnny Sexton. I think he's that good. And he may be the best. Yeah, of all the players that have come into the Irish team in the last couple of years, he may be the best. His ceiling is so incredibly high. And I think he's got a long way to go. And he's already, in my humble opinion, the best hooker in world rugby. So I will show you the top 10. And you can have a look at who's changed positions. There you go. Jamie George, Ronan Kelleher back into... Jamie George back in, Ronan Kelleher up, Samisoni Taukei'aho dropping down, Cody Taylor down, but only because Piato Malvaka and Mbonambi was so good, and completely as you were with the top 4, partly because of injury to Marchand and Marks, who couldn't justify that going any higher, and partly because those 4 are just the best 4. What a roster. Look at that. And you've got to consider the players that aren't there. You've got Malolo from Samoa, the legend Mike Tadger from Portugal, got to give him a mention. Elias, Lake and D. I wonder which one of those Welsh hookers will emerge as the main man. George Turner, he dropped out of the top 10 for Scotland. And I think Luke Cowan-Dickey is one of those players I think could well be back in the top 10 very, very soon. He was injured for England, but I mean, what a collection of players right there. That is hooker. Love to know what you think. Interestingly, so the average age of the loosehead props was 26.8. The average age of those hookers, 28.6. A little bit older, about the age you might expect. I think that just shows that the loosehead props were this crop at the moment are particularly young. But I reckon for the next World Cup, 8 out of those 10, I would imagine, would be there. Maybe Bongi and Mbonambi and Jamie George, the only ones we might not expect to see at the next World Cup if everyone stays fit and well. Cracking bunch of players. Enjoyed that. Give the video a thumbs up. Tell me what you think. Leave me your comments. Hit subscribe. And I will see you on the next one when we'll be delving into tight head prop in the player power rankings to end the year.